This is my new Ridgid R4520 table saw. I just bought it a few days ago. It's a huge upgrade for me. I had a cheapy little benchtop table saw before this. I think this will be a really good table saw, but it has some common problems. After I bought it, I started reading some reviews online, and it's got some major problems with the blade lifting mechanism and the riving knife. The riving knife mechanism is the cause, but what happens is you raise the blade, through normal use, raising and lowering the blade here and there, the belt comes loose, and then people have been having trouble with that, having to retighten the belt all the time. Well, let me show you what's going on and how you can fix it. I have the blade off. Let's watch this mechanism for a second. So when you raise and lower, what's happening is, so I have the bolt removed. Right here in this hole is a bolt that goes through and then rides in this channel. The bolt's just loose though. This isn't a threaded hole, this is just a hole. The bolt has to be loose to allow this to slide. It can't be tight. But because it's loose, it kind of cocks over like this and it gets jammed. Okay, great. When that gets jammed, it puts force on this arm here that's holding the riving knife. This riving knife goes into this mechanism. That puts pressure on the arbor because you're trying to lift or lower the arbor. This is restricting that movement. And this arbor is held tight. In this slot here is a bolt on the other side. That bolt stops this arbor from moving in relation to the motor mount. It's what allows you to tighten the belt. So when you try to force the blade and this bolt's jammed and you try to force it up, this bolt will inevitably start to slide and loosen your belt. It's not a great design. It is what it is though. The other problem is when you lower this guy all the way to the bottom, and this is the problem I've been having, when you lower this all the way down, good practice is to lower the blade below the table when you're not using it, so you don't touch the blade. Well, this little bolt at the bottom here rides in a separate channel, and it will bottom out, and for me it was bottoming out in its slot before the blade was actually below the tabletop. So now you're forcing it down. Now you're seeing resistance when you're trying to lower the blade at the bottom, and that's putting pressure again on this arbor, which is putting pressure on this bolt, which is allowing it to loosen and slip. So here's how you fix it. Okay, here's the view from the opening of the cabinet, right? So this guy rides in a channel. Well, you can adjust this channel. So what you're going to have to do is loosen these 3 bolts and then adjust this channel so that you can lower this blade all the way below the tabletop without it bottoming on this channel. The aluminum casting has enough room in the slot here for this bolt, for the blade to come all the way down. But this steel slide has to be adjusted. And then second, the bolt, here it is. The bolt that sits in this hole. So I don't recommend this. This is my solution. I'm just going to leave it out. The bolt that's riding in the slide below completely stops this guy from moving. Well, it's loose now because I have this slide loose, but it holds this in place and allows it to come up parallel with the table. This bolt here is really just to keep this arm relatively tight against this slot, to keep the riving knife in line with the blade. But as far as I'm concerned, this is already pretty tight on the arbor. This isn't moving around very much. So I'm going to leave that bolt out. If you don't want to leave that bolt out, the other thing is this casting is really rough. So having this moderately tight against this slot, you might want to take a file and clean up the surface of this, because it's not good. Anyway, if you're worried about it and you want to keep this bolt in, and this is what you probably should do, then what you need to do, you need to thread this hole so that when you put a bigger bolt in there, the bolt will have to still fit in this slot, of course, smoothly and loosely. But when you thread the bolt in there and then screw it in tight against the arm, it won't, it'll be tight. It'll be tight and stable in this position. It won't wiggle around because it's loose. So that's the solution. And I may do that anyway. We'll see. When I have this all back together, we'll see how much movement the riving knife has. I might do that anyway. Anyway, I think once that's done, that will eliminate this problem with raising and lowering the blade and the belt coming loose. And then this should be a pretty good saw. I mean, it's a good saw in every other way. The table's flat. It's got this nice big hole. I've already made a zero clearance insert for myself here. A nice big motor on it. Yeah, I like this table saw a lot, but boy, it does have a design flaw. So good luck, and I hope this video was helpful for you. Okay, bye.